that no one should be defending his actions from a New Year's Eve video of him slapping his wife at a nightclub in Mexico. White, who apologized for the altercation earlier this month, addressed the topic of punishment in front of media members. Take a listen.
What should the repercussions be? You tell me. I take 30 days off? How does that hurt me? I mean, I told you guys when we were going through COVID could last 10 years. I could sit it out and, you know what I mean? What would be the problem? It's much like COVID, actually. You know, me leaving hurts the company, hurts my employees, hurts the fighters. Doesn't hurt me. I could have left in 2016. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do I need to reflect? No, I don't need to reflect. The next morning when I woke up, you know what I mean? I've been against this. I've owned this. I'm telling you that I'm wrong. And but listen, I mean, we've had plenty of discussions internally with Ari, ESPN. Nobody's happy. Nobody's happy about this, you know. Neither am I. But it happened, and I have to deal with it. And what is my punishment? Here's my punishment. I got to walk around for however long I live. Is it 10.4 years or is it another 25 years? And I gotta. This is how I'm labeled now. My other punishment is that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people, whether it be media, fighters, friends, acquaintances, who had respect for me, might not have respect for me now.
How do you repair things at home?
You don't bounce back from it. You wake up every day and try to be better than you were yesterday, and you make sure that that never happens again. Whatever steps you have to take to make sure that you're never in that situation and that never happens again, that's what I need to do. And it's a fact. I mean, there's a couple things in life that you don't bounce back from, and this is one of them. That's a fact.
Earlier this week, the California Legislative Women's Caucus called for White's removal as UFC president, writing in a letter to Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel. The head of a major sporting organization cannot claim to be for the safety of women while a video of him striking his wife continues to circulate online without a response from you. The letter reads, "The hypocrisy is astounding. Enough is enough." Endeavor is UFC's parent company, along with other business partners, including ESPN and TBS. Both have declined to comment on the incident. Stephen A., there's a lot to unpack here, but let's start with his comments from yesterday.
First order of business about his comments from yesterday. What I didn't like about what Dana White did was how he was speaking about, okay, what would you have happen? What do you want me to do? I don't think that was the thing to say. That's number one. But number two, I want to get into this because you know this is First Take and we don't run from issues and we ain't about to start now. And people who have implied that somehow, some way we run from issues or we soft soak stuff, I don't think they know what the hell they're talking about. So let me say, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not going to speak for you on that, Molly. I'm going to speak for myself. I've already stated for the record. Number one, I spoke to Dana White. Dana White knows exactly where I stand. He was wrong. You do not put your hands on a woman, period. Okay? I also said that Dana White deserves the same punishment he would hand down to one of his fighters.
Can I just say really quickly what I said after you said that?
Yes.
I said he deserves a stricter punishment than that because the role he plays, and it's a leadership role.
Right.
But people seem to forget that.
Yeah, they forgot that. They just conveniently forgot that. And the reason that I said that he deserves what he would hand down to other players, other fighters under his stewardship, is because somebody would get suspended for 6 months. Somebody would get suspended for a year. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, am I an advocate of cancer culture where you want him to lose his job? No. And I'm not apologizing for that. Married 27 years to his wife. His wife spoke about this issue as well. They're working it out as a family. It's their family matter. It's their private matter, but it became public. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, Dana White was wrong. You do not do what he did to his wife, which he has openly admitted. Does he deserve to be punished? Yes, he does. Does he deserve to be the person who decides what his punishment is? No, he does not. He does not. Somebody else needs to be able to make that call, which is what I said. okay? I never said he should be allowed to punish himself, okay? What I said was his punishment should fit what he would exact against other people. I don't even think Dana White disagrees with that because I haven't spoken to him since. So let's get that out the way. But let's also understand what we're talking about here. We're talking about a situation where this man's actions cannot be defended. No fighter in the UFC, no human being, no man, no woman, no child, no one should defend it. Dana White has said that. His wife has indicated that. Mm-hmm. He's indicated that his children feel that way. All right, so where does that leave us? Well, Stephen A. sits up here, and I'm on First Take. Who do I work for? I work for ESPN. Who does the UFC have to deal with? That's ESPN. We haven't heard anything. William Morris Endeavor, that is the agency that represents me, okay? Technically, you can say that. It goes a bit deeper. I'm at William Morris because of Mark Shapiro. Let me be very, very clear about that. Mark Shapiro is the president. Mark Shapiro is the person who hired me at ESPN in 2003. Our relationship spans that long. He's the only reason. Not to say that it's not a great company, because I got one of the best agents in the business in John Rosen, who's spectacular, and I get all of that. But I'm at WME because of Mark Shapiro, who is a friend, all right? The point that I'm trying to make is that they got to do what they got to do. You're asking me what my opinion should be? I've told Dana White where I stood. I've told Mark Shapiro where I've stood. I've told ESPN where I stand. I've told the national audience where I stand. But in the end, this is the part that people, and I know why it's annoying people. You look at a guy like Dana White, who's in a very influential position. This is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but what he said was actually factual from this perspective. What exactly is it that you're going to do? He can walk away, okay? I saw...
you keep him away from his job, from the sport, from his job that he loves.
That's fine. And he was telling you he'd be fine with it.
Because it's a privilege to be the face of a company.
I understand that. I'm saying to you what he said yesterday is that he's going to be fine regardless.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is this. Then I look at the Wall Street Journal the other day and I see Vince McMahon, who got into some trouble running the WWE, and he leaves and he's gone for months at a time. He comes back, reclaims the CEO position, and the stock price has jumped up. I mean, we're living in a society right now where there's a level of accountability that people are craving for.
Yeah.
But who's going to exact that accountability? I don't know the answer to that question.
It needs to be Endeavor, because he has a boss.
Okay.
So, Stephen A., if we're saying that if fighters get X amount of punishment, and I looked it up, there isn't a standard policy with the UFC, and I've said this before with the NFL, there should be a hard and fast rule with gambling and PEDs, and there also should be when you violate a woman. So it's the same thing here. And they have to create a policy, if they have to look at what happened with fighters in the past, and it has to be more severe from the simple fact that he's in a leadership role, he's the face of the company, and what comes with that. I got it.
And my response to that is fine. But then people should be talking about that. Yeah. They shouldn't be looking at Molly and Steve and they'd be, oh, your tenor, your tone, and it wasn't aggressive enough. What do you want me to say? All I could do is be honest and open about where we're coming from. Dana White is someone that I know. He's a friend. I called him and told him, what the hell were you doing? You have any idea how bad it is? You were wrong. By the way, you deserve to be punished. By the way, I told ESPN that. I told William Morris that. I'm telling the national audience that. And then after that, you deal with what is. We have to deal with those encounters all the time in terms of people looking at us and our commentary, and not just this show, a multitude of shows on this network and beyond. That's the reality of the situation. We can wish, we can desire, we can believe, but at the end of the day, it's somebody else. The onus is on somebody else to do something about it. All we could do is say what we feel, and I have said so. Yes. That's my point.
Yeah. The one other piece I want to say is there should be some credit to First Take as the one show that's discussing this and giving our opinion for that matter. And I realized that clip circulated and there was conversation that we weren't strict in it, but people weren't taking the part about the punishment that we said that should be exacted. They were focusing on the part that you said Dana's a friend. But we owe the audience full disclosure to know the relationship of WME and Dana. But we condemn, and domestic violence is egregious. It's unacceptable. It shouldn't happen. And he shouldn't be able to exact his punishment. And so many people make poor decisions or get involved with the law, and they don't get to say, hey, my shame's enough. No, you face punishment in addition to that, and that should happen here. And he has a boss, and that is Endeavor, and I expect them to hand something down.
Got it.
Yeah. We'll leave it there.
That's it.
All right. More First Take after the break. Stay here.
that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people, whether it be media, fighters, friends, acquaintances who had respect for me might not have respect for me now. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life that are way more of a punishment than what? I take a 30-day, 60-day absence? That's not a punishment to me.
So that's what Dana White had to say yesterday. And I should tell you, I have a relationship with Dana White that goes back almost 25 years. And when he says he doesn't want anyone defending him. When he says, though, that how would me sitting out 30 days, that's not a punishment for me? Yes, it would be. Absolutely, it would be, because Dana, it's not an adrenaline junkie, but Dana is an A-type personality that needs to needs to go, right? Needs to run the company. That's something he loves. It's a labor of love. It's like a passion thing for him. So yes, it would absolutely be a punishment, but that's not going to happen because he is the one in authority. He's the one in position of power. And I agree with his assessment that he owns it, he understands it, the whole thing, and he is in the wrong. He's not making any excuses. But I think people will have a bad reaction because this is the overlapping. This is in the Venn diagram, this is the shaded area of not only domestic violence, but then also responsibility and how people in positions of power don't have to answer for behavior in the same way others do. And so I think people will have a strong reaction to this.
Exactly.